Chapter 1. The journey begins. Welcome to Chapter 1 of CBT Thrive. In this chapter, we begin our journey into a transformative world of congestive behavior therapy and its impact on inner city youth. Let's explore the first steps towards understanding and change. This is where the journey begins.
Hey there. Imagine your mind is like a super cool garden. Yeah, that's right. A place where your thoughts and feelings are like seeds that can grow into awesome or not so awesome plants. Just like a garden, your mind needs care. If you're not paying attention, it can get a bit wild. Ever felt overwhelmed by too many thoughts or bummed out for no reason? That's like letting weeds take over your garden. Not cool, right? So here's where cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, comes in. It's like the ultimate gardening tool for your mind. It helps you figure out which thoughts are helpful and which ones aren't. Imagine if we all learned CBT in school, like math or science. We'd be pros at handling stress, understanding our emotions, and wouldn't freak out when things get tough. It's like having superpowers for your brain. We all have those epic moments, like nailing something after trying a zillion times. Remember the last time you felt super proud? That's your garden flourishing. But then, life can throw curveballs. Maybe you've heard about someone young facing something really tough, or even tragic. That's a reminder of how life is unpredictable, and why taking care of our mind garden is super important. Let's face it, we're all glued to our phones and screens, right? But sometimes the stuff we see online is like junk food for our minds. It's more important than ever to keep our mental garden healthy and not let the bad vibes take over. Ever wished you could rewind time, especially after something bad happens? While we can't do that yet, we can use CBT to help us see things differently, stay positive, and be ready for life's roller coaster. Maybe you've heard a story about someone who went through something really tough. Their story isn't just a memory, it's a wake-up call about how crucial our mental health is. It's about early help, understanding our minds, and how awesome tools like CBT can make a big difference. As we all try to make sense of this crazy world, let's remember, taking care of our mental garden isn't just a solo mission. It's about all of us, friends, family, schools, working together. Every kind word, every supportive act, it all helps. We're in this together, growing gardens full of hope, strength, and positive vibes. Imagine your mind as an epic adventure game set in Chicago Heights. You're the hero, and every day brings new challenges and victories. It's a place where being short on cash isn't just about money. It's a mental marathon. Your mind is a vast world, filled with mountains of confidence and valleys of doubt. My guides in this adventure were my grandma, Mary Moses, and Pastor Robert Moses. Picture them as wise NPCs, non-playable characters, who drop knowledge and power-ups. They taught me life's cheat codes through stories and parables, kind of like the old-school version of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. As I leveled up, the game got tougher. School was supposed to be a tutorial level, but it felt more like a boss fight every day. Teachers were allies doing their best in this chaos. And then, enter the digital realm, a place full of side quests and distractions, making it hard to stay focused on the main mission. I had a strong start, thanks to my family's support and church teachings. Think of them as the best starter pack, but not all players are that lucky. I remember a day that shook our neighborhood. A young life lost, a quest unfinished. It was a brutal reminder of why it's crucial to keep our mental health bar full from the beginning. We had just celebrated a win, a volleyball match, like scoring a goal in the final seconds of a game. But joy turned to sorrow overnight. The ones who caused the tragedy were just kids, players who got lost along the way because the game system failed them. Imagine if these kids had the right guidance from the start. What if their mental landscapes were carefully tended, keeping the bad vibes at bay? Every decision we make, every challenge we face in our youth, sets the stage for the next levels. My life in Chicago Heights was filled with stories, some tough, others inspiring. My grandma was like the guiding light, showing the path through her faith. Her wisdom was my intro to the power of words, and unknowingly, to CBT. Life's a complex game, and we all play it with a different strategy based on our backstory. CBT is like learning to play the game in a whole new way, changing your tactics to turn challenges into opportunities. As the game progressed, the digital landscape got more intense. Social media became a PvP, player versus player zone, where likes and comments were the scores. But CBT strategies are like power-ups, helping you navigate through this without losing your cool. That tragedy near my home was a wake-up call for all of us. Our young players need guidance and support to understand this complex world. CBT is like a quest giver, offering tools to beat the game. Our minds are like uncharted territories, ready to be explored and cultivated. By understanding our mental landscapes and equipping our young adventurers with CBT tools, we're setting them up for a journey of happiness and success. The path might be filled with boss fights and puzzles, but with the right strategy, every player can triumph.
Okay, what's up? Let's do it. We gonna head to chapter 2. That's right, the urban mindset. Chapter 2 of CBT Thrive delves into the unique challenges and perspectives of the inner city life. We'll explore how the urban mindset shapes the experiences of the youth and how CBT can offer new pathways of thinking and acting. That's right, the urban mindset.
Life's like a crazy mixtape, right? It's got its dope tracks and some serious downers. In our hood, among the cool vibes and tough breaks, there's always some weeds trying to choke out the good stuff. Our story's about one of these weeds, a guy named Nigel, who's got a lot more going on than meets the eye. Chicago Heights, it's not your typical suburban dream. Once a booming spot, now it's more like the backdrop of a gritty music video. Nigel, our main dude, is riding the roller coaster of teenage life here. He's African American, living in a place where every day's a hustle. Nigel's seen it all: gangs, poverty, the temptation of easy money. But deep down, he's just a guy looking for his place in the world. Picture this: Nigel, the MVP of his high school football team. He's fast, he's got moves, and he's the guy everyone cheers for. But life throws a curveball, a robbery charge, and bam, he goes from high school hero to zero. In this cloud of drama, there's Mrs. Davis. She's not your average teacher. She's cool, gets it, and knows something about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. She sees Nigel as more than just another headline. To her, he's a diamond in the rough. Their big moment? A clash in class with Mr. Ameri. Words fly, desks get flipped, total chaos. But Mrs. Davis sees the real deal, a dude crying out for help. Mrs. Davis hooks Nigel up with CBT. It's all about turning that negative noise in your head into something positive. Your past doesn't define you, she tells him. She's all about those positive vibes, pushing him to write it out, to face his demons on paper. Then there's Nana, Nigel's grandma. She's like that wise old character in every epic story. Every night she's spinning tales from the Bible, showing Nigel there's more to life, talking redemption and hope. One night, Nigel's walk home is a reality slap. The park, usually full of life, is dead silent. A memorial stands there for a kid caught in a drive-by. It hits Nigel hard. Life's fragile, unpredictable. Mrs. Davis, spotting the change in Nigel, steps up. She's not just about the academics. She's about real talk, showing him how to deal with the rough patches, to turn grief into something good. Fast forward, and Nigel's a changed man. He's gone from angry young dude to someone with dreams and drive. He's not just surviving. He's looking to make a difference. Nigel's story isn't unique. It's happening all around us. Teens facing tough times, feeling lost. But with the right help, like CBT, and people who care, they can find their way. Big props to Dr. Aaron Beck, the brain behind CBT. He's the reason folks like Nigel can flip the script on their lives. Every hood has its weeds, but with a little love and the right moves, they can turn into something beautiful. Nigel's journey shows us that. It's all about understanding, support, and believing in change. So as we drop the mic on this chapter, remember, everyone's got the potential to shine. It's all about giving them the space to grow.
Chapter 3, Building Resilience. In this chapter, we focus on building resilience. Here, we'll learn all about the tools and techniques of CBT that powers young individuals, that overcome obstacles, and develops a strong sense of self. That's right, building resilience.
The morning sun bathed the community garden in a warm glow, transforming it into a vibrant oasis in the heart of the city. This was where the Gardeners of the Mind, a diverse group dedicated to exploring cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, met to sow seeds of change. Among them were not just adults but teenagers too, each bringing their own story of resilience and hope. They gathered around, ready to tend to the garden and their minds. Jasmine, a 17-year-old, watched the older members with keen interest. She was new here, drawn by the promise of understanding her own struggles through CBT. The group's leader, Ms. Harper, a compassionate therapist, welcomed everyone. She often said, "Just like these plants need sunlight and care, our minds need positive thoughts and self-compassion." As they dug into the soil, Ms. Harper drew parallels between nurturing plants and nurturing minds. "We need to prune negative thoughts, just like we prune these plants," she explained. Jasmine paired up with Carlos, a 16-year-old who had experienced the juvenile justice system firsthand. They shared stories as they worked, talking about the challenges they faced as youth of color. Carlos spoke about the stark reality of his time in a juvenile detention center. "For every 100,000 of us, too many end up behind bars," he said, a hint of sadness in his voice. Jasmine listened, her hands deep in the earth. She thought about how the garden, full of life and growth, was so different from the cold, harsh environment Carlos described. Ms. Harper joined their conversation, emphasizing the importance of environments in shaping minds and lives. "Places like detention centers stifle growth, just like a garden without light," she noted. Their work in the garden became a metaphor for their personal growth. Each seed planted represented a positive affirmation, a step towards a healthier mindset. The conversation shifted to St. Battle's Clinic, a place many of them knew too well. They recalled the long waits and the unwelcoming atmosphere, so different from the nurturing environment they were creating here. Jasmine shared her experience at the clinic. "It felt like nobody there really saw me, you know?" Her voice trailed off, lost in the memory of feeling invisible. Carlos nodded, understanding her sentiment. "But here in this garden it's different. We're heard and we're seen," he said, a small smile forming. As they planted, Ms. Harper encouraged them to share positive affirmations. "I am strong," Jasmine said softly. "I am capable," added Carlos. They discussed the discrepancies in mental health care access, how in some areas help was readily available, while in others it was a distant dream. "It's not just about planting seeds in this garden," Ms. Harper stated. "It's about planting seeds of change in our community." Jasmine felt a surge of empowerment. Here, she wasn't just a teenager. She was a gardener of change, nurturing positivity in a world that often seemed bleak. They talked about reaching out to their communities, sharing what they learned about CBT and mental health. "We can be the change," Jasmine said, her voice firm with resolve. The stories from St. Battle's Clinic and the juvenile centers weren't just tales of despair anymore. They were turning into narratives of hope and calls for change. As they watered the plants, they talked about how their work in the garden was a symbol of their growth and their fight against the systemic challenges they faced. The garden had become more than just a space for them. It was a symbol of their journey, from being trapped in a cycle of negativity to emerging as advocates for mental health and justice. The group decided to take their stories and data to local authorities. They wanted to show the stark differences in how youth of color were treated in the system. They met each day with renewed energy, their discussions in the garden becoming more than personal reflections. They were building a case for change. Jasmine looked around at the thriving garden, feeling a sense of hope. Here, in this small patch of green, they were rewriting their stories, one seed at a time. As the sun set, the gardeners of the mind packed up, their hearts and minds as full as the garden they tended to. They left with a shared vision of a world where every mind, every life, had the space to grow and flourish.
Chapter 4. That's right, the power of self-talk. Chapter 4 of CBT Thrive examines the power of self-talk. Discover how inner dialogue influences emotions and behavior, and how CBT helps in creating a more positive, constructive internal narrative. That's right, the power of self-talk.
In the heart of the city, where skyscrapers cast long shadows over the streets, there's a different kind of jungle, one made up of young minds trying to make it against the odds. These neighborhoods, often ignored by the rest of the city, are where being tough isn't just cool, it's necessary to get by. Here, amid challenges like poverty, schoolyard bullying, and mental health battles, the real heroes are the ones who keep pushing forward. And in this urban struggle, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, isn't just therapy, it's a secret weapon. In these parts of the city, where the only aid often comes from the government and talking about feelings is as rare as a unicorn, CBT shines like a hidden gem. It's more than just sitting and talking about your feelings. It's about learning to kick negative thoughts to the curb and grow a garden of positive vibes in a place that's usually harsh and tough. CBT here is like a superhero's tool, not just helping to cut through the jungle of negative self-talk and danger, but also paving a new path, one that leads to a life full of hope and new possibilities. This chapter takes us on a journey through these mind gardens, getting down into the dirt of their struggles and seeing how CBT can help them blossom. We're diving deep into their stories, understanding the battles they face every day, and celebrating their resilience. CBT is our guide here, showing us that even in the toughest places, there's always a chance for something good to grow. Under the city's towering buildings, in neighborhoods where the air is thick with more than just pollution, life can feel like a constant battle. You've got sirens blaring, the hidden dangers of substance abuse, and violence that hangs around like a bad smell. For kids growing up here, life is like trying to stand tall in a never-ending storm. Their roots are deep in rocky soil, where making it through each day can feel like navigating a maze filled with dead ends and traps. But even here, in the toughest parts of the city, there's a heartbeat of hope that refuses to give up. This is where CBT comes in, armed with tools to turn the tide, not just trimming the overgrown weeds of trauma and hardship, but planting new seeds of thought and action that can weather any storm. As we dig deeper into this chapter, we see how CBT can become part of the fabric of these communities. It sneaks into schools and community centers, becoming a guiding light and a helping hand. It's like a mirror, showing kids how to understand their emotions, and a map, helping them navigate through life's complicated maze. With the help of awesome therapists and community workers who really get it, CBT becomes a way to rewrite their stories. It teaches these kids to spot the bad thoughts that drag them down and grow a new mindset of self-worth and strength. Together, we're going on a journey through this transformation, watching how one life at a time, the face of these tough neighborhoods can change. We're not just erasing the problems, we're learning to face and overcome them in a new way. In the midst of all this, we meet Marcus, a big guy in the schoolyard who's got a rep as a bully. He's the storm everyone's trying to avoid. But behind his tough exterior is a whirlpool of depression and anxiety, hidden from the world. One morning, the schoolyard is buzzing and Marcus decides to pick on Alex, a quiet kid who always has his nose in a book. "Hey nerd," Marcus shouts. "What's with the book, dreaming of fairy tales?" Alex, a bit shaky but holding his ground, answers, "Books are my escape. They take me to places where I feel safe." Marcus sneers, "Safe? You need to toughen up, not hide in stories." Their teacher, Ms. Thompson, overhears this. She's got a sharp eye and a kind heart. She walks over and asks Marcus, "Are you fighting your own dragons, Marcus?" Caught off guard, Marcus stutters, "I don't get what you mean." Ms. Thompson nods. "We all have battles inside us. You're not fighting alone. Let's talk." This is the start of a big change for Marcus. In CBT sessions with Ms. Thompson, he starts to untangle his feelings, learning to express himself in healthier ways. Slowly, the school bully begins to change, using his strength to help, rather than hurt. At the same time, Alex starts to find his own voice. He learns to stand up for himself, drawing strength from his resilience and the lessons he's learning. Their stories are just two sides of the same coin, showing how understanding and addressing pain can lead to growth, not just for them, but for their entire community. It's a story of hope, proving that even in the toughest places, change is always possible. As we keep exploring, we dive into the school's world, a mini version of the neighborhood. There's Sarah, super smart but socially awkward, often picked on for being a bookworm. One day during a group project, she gets teased, "Why do you always have to be so perfect, Sarah? You make us look bad." Heartbroken, Sarah retreats, but Mr. Johnson, the school counselor, sees what's happening. He's known for his empathy and understanding. He approaches Sarah. "I've noticed you've been quiet. What's up?" Slowly, Sarah talks about feeling left out and the pressure of being the smart one. Mr. Johnson listens, then gently introduces her to CBT. They work on ways to handle social anxiety and to see her intelligence as a strength, not a barrier. Through their sessions, Sarah starts to connect more with her classmates, and the whole vibe in the class begins to change. It becomes a place where everyone's strengths are celebrated and differences are respected. This change in Sarah and her class is a big deal. It shows how CBT can reshape not just how we see ourselves, but how we see each other, building a community where everyone feels they belong.
Chapter 5. In this chapter, we're standing on business. Navigating emotions. Welcome to Chapter 5, where we are navigating the complex world of emotions. This chapter provides insight into understanding and managing feelings effectively through CBT strategies. Alright? Navigating emotions, baby.
In a bustling high school, where every corner echoes with the voices of youth, a new chapter unfolds in the lives of two extraordinary students, Emma and Lucas, as they discover the world of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Emma, a 16-year-old with a passion for writing, meets Lucas, a 17-year-old chess enthusiast in the school library. Both grapple with their inner demons. Emma battles depression, while Lucas struggles with anxiety. Emma: "Hey Lucas, what's up? You always seem so deep in thought." Lucas: "Just my mind racing ahead of me, Emma, it never stops." Their teacher, Ms. Harper, spots them talking and sees an opportunity to introduce them to CBT, a tool she believes could transform their lives. Ms. Harper: "Have you guys ever heard of CBT? It's like a strategy for your thoughts, helps you outplay those negative patterns." In class, Ms. Harper turns CBT into a captivating game. She sets up a board resembling a journey through a mind labyrinth and gives Emma and Lucas avatars to navigate the path. Ms. Harper: "Each step on this board is about understanding and changing how we think and react. It's like decoding your own mind." As they play, Emma and Lucas begin to share their feelings more openly, viewing them as challenges in their game to overcome. Emma: "Sometimes I feel like I'm a character in a tragic novel." Lucas: "And I'm stuck in a chess game, always in check." Ms. Harper: "Let's change the genre of that novel and find a winning move in your game." Emma and Lucas take the CBT game home. Their families gather around, intrigued. The evening turns into a shared experience of understanding and bonding. Emma's mom: "This isn't just for Emma, it's a chapter we all share in her life." Lucas's dad: "We're part of this game too, each playing our role to support Lucas." Back at school, Emma and Lucas become CBT champions, starting a club for students to explore their mental landscapes. The club quickly gains popularity, turning the school into a hub of empathy and self-discovery. Emma: "Look, Lucas, we're not just rewriting our stories. We're inspiring a whole school." Lucas: "We're more than just players in a game, we're guides for each other." Their success leads them to organize a school-wide CBT workshop. The gym is transformed into a carnival of mind games and interactive sessions. Lucas: "Let's make this a day to remember, fun, engaging, and real." Emma: "And let's share our stories. It's about more than games, it's about connection." The event is a hit, with students of all grades participating, sharing their thoughts, and learning coping strategies. The atmosphere is electric with positive energy and heartfelt conversations. A local psychologist, Dr. Jensen, attends the workshop. Impressed, she offers to run a special session for parents and teachers. Dr. Jensen: "What you've started is extraordinary. You're not just practicing CBT, you're living it and spreading its power." During this session, Adults and children learn together, bridging the gap between their worlds. As weeks go by, the impact of the CBT Club is clear. Students, including Emma and Lucas, find new confidence and expression. Emma, I feel like I've stepped into a new chapter of my life. Lighter, brighter. Lucas, and I've solved part of my puzzle. It's a long game, but I'm getting there. The school hosts an assembly to celebrate their journey. Emma and Lucas share their experiences, captivating the audience with their honesty and insight. Lucas, CBT isn't just a set of tools, it's understanding ourselves and others. Emma, it's about never losing hope no matter how tough things seem. As the chapter closes, we see Emma, Lucas, and their classmates looking forward to a future where mental well-being is not a solo journey, but a collective adventure. The school embraces this culture, integrating CBT into its ethos,